All right, so let me just close that down. So just to give you a little bit of introduction to myself, I am a Microsoft Learning Consultant. So I can train and help and advise on anything in the Microsoft 365 suite. So a lot of times when I meet with organizations, I like to give them my contact information so that you can reach out to me afterwards, because we'll cover a lot of material. And sometimes your questions tend to come up after when you start working with the product. So feel free to reach out to me. We'll do I'm not going to really touch on OneDrive, but I just want to show you how they all fit together so it makes a little sense. And if that's something you want information on in a deeper dive later, we can do that. We'll look at how to join or create, manage a team, channels, definitely the communication and collaboration features. That's what I feel Microsoft does super well. I'm going to show you, if we have time, the favorite apps that I like to pair with Teams, because I had it explained to me one time. I thought this was a great way to describe it. Teams is like your cell phone. It's great for basic meetings, all those good things, just like your cell phone can make calls. But when you start adding things to Teams, you really can see that productivity value and its true capabilities. And then I've already dropped in some of those training support and help features for you already into our chat. But we can touch on those too towards the end. So how you want to see how this integrates with everything. OneDrive, if you're using that, that's your personal space. That's where you're going to organize your own personal files. You can do direct sharing out there, but you want to think of Teams as your shared drive. This is where you're going to collaborate, work with people, and then Sharepoint is that organizational wide sharing. So you can see here, I just broke those down. This is what you're going to use Teams for. It's really going to be that place to share files, co-author, have really great productive conversations around those files. The meetings, all of that is really becoming your hub. That's where you could use it, yes, for teaching and learning, but that faculty staff coordination, I love it for that. I think it does really well. Professional development. We could be hosting this in a Teams meeting. I've built teams for groups and training groups where they'll put recordings, they'll put resources, and really create a beautiful library of documents that can become a great resource for an organization. Great student community building and community building at large. Because of the communication features, because of your ability to share and incorporate and work with others, it's a great place to really do that. And again, it's a nice place for research, whether you're researching within the university or you're working with outside organizations. Because of all of our security and compliance and HIPAA and FERPA compliance, it's a great place to work and collaborate in. So Teams is one of the fastest growing apps in Microsoft history. 91% of Fortune 100 companies use it. I love the accessibilities features in it, especially the languages. So you have all of this in one place. You just need to know where to find all those features, and we'll look at doing that today for you. So what we're going to do, especially going to look at those communication features. We're going to look at the collaboration, files, how those work in there. And if there's anything that you specifically like to work with, we can add that. So we can always take a look here and see what your organization has turned on and made available to you, and you can incorporate that into Teams. And that's one of the things I like. It works so well with other products that you really can put everything in one place and make it a one-stop shop for yourself. And you're always going to work with confidence knowing you have that level of security and compliance. So if we have time, these are my favorite ones I do like to pair, but I want to come into Teams now. And if at any point you have any questions, I'm going to do my best to keep my eye on the chat. I'm going to move you all into another screen. Please stop me. I'd love, I want this to be meaningful for you. I want it to be interactive. So if there's something that you want to know if teams can do, or you want to talk about a use case, we can definitely do that. A lot of times I'll do a larger training like this, and then I'll have people from that training reach out to me and invite me to their department meetings, and we'll look at specific use cases and how teams can best meet their needs. So here I have this set up for a university staff meeting. When you come into Teams, I'm going to take it even a step back further. We're going to go look at all teams. This is where you can join or create a team. So you'll come in here. If someone gave you a join code and they already have a team created, you'll enter that here and join their team. If not, you'll go to create a team. Now we have 4 team types. Don't be put off by the names. You really want to think about the purpose of your group. So for example, a class team type is going to have a hierarchy. You're going to have owners, and then you're going to have members from your organization, and anyone outside your organization would enter in as guests. Now, in this template, you're going to have grades, assignments, and I love the insight feature in here. It really lets you it's this beautiful built-in dashboard that lets you see all the analytics of what's happening in your team, of who's interacting. If you're doing any of the reflections apps, it's giving you a kind of a temperature check on the social emotional aspect of the people that you're working with. Now, I've had organizations use this, yes, for K-12 for assignments, but I've had universities use this for onboarding. I've had nursing programs use this for onboarding. So I've had IT departments use this to send out assignments or project updates so that they can see who's viewed those, who's turned them in, and use all of those analytics that are built into that class team type. So like I said, take a look at what the features are and see if that will meet the need of your group. Professional learning community, everyone's going to go in as an equal footing. So you're not going to have that hierarchy. And you'll have a professional learning community notebook, so which is a OneNote. Staff goes back to the hierarchy model. And in here, you also get an insights feature that's tailored to working with staff. And I like that because it lets you find out how people are feeling about projects. It lets you see trends and get feedback. And you can have it set up in 2 ways, where it can be confidential. It's just between that person and the owner, or you can have it so that it's anonymous, but you can see the overall feeling of how a project's going. So there's some nice new features in here if you haven't been in there yet. Other team type is a clean, simple team type. You can choose how you want, who the owners, who the members, the guests. Each one of these 4 are going to have posts and files. So you'll get that same collaboration feature across all 4. You're just going to have a little bit differences in the templates. So I'm going to cancel out of that, and I'm going to take you back into that staff team type that I have built out. So when you come in, when you first come in, you're just going to have a general, we call these channels. And the, part of the template will be the general channel, and you'll have posts and files. It'll be, and this is set up as a staff notebook, so a staff team type. So you're going to see that there. So those will be all that you have. Then it's up to you to add. Maybe you have a SharePoint site that you're using as a website for your group. You can add that as a tab across the top. You can come in here. I could add channel calendars, maybe a bookings account for sharing my calendar and having people book time with me. Maybe you're a manager and you need to have meetings with your staff. This is a great way to do that. Lists, we'll take a look at that in a little bit. List is so great. It's a project management tool. It's much more robust than Planner. Planner is great. It's got some great checklists and to-do lists. This is much more robust. So you have that ability by pressing this plus sign to really customize your team and pick what, maybe there's some favorites that you have that you're already working with, or pick one of the Microsoft productivity apps that can help increase communication within your group. So you can customize that across the top and really fit your needs. If you're the owner of the team, I always recommend going into manage a team so that you can get that workflow and you can see how your team is interacting. So here's where you're going to see that hierarchy of who the owner is, who are the members and guests. And I like this tag feature. This, you can put up to 22 tags to an individual person. And what this does is it lets people find each other. It gives identifiers. And I can come over here and in a post or a chat, put this @ symbol in front of class of 2025, and it can create a group chat, or it can create a special notice that I want this set of people to take action on or go look at. So the benefit to using these tags and using that @ sign, we call them @ mentions, it really cuts down on your email. It keeps everything streamlined. It keeps everything in one place. You can see those documents and the conversations around them. So there's a lot you can do in here with those tags. Maybe identify people by department or the courses they're studying. It's really up to you how you'd like to do that. So like I mentioned earlier, when you come in, you're just going to have that general channel, and it'll be up to you to create these. I really like to advise people to take some time and give some thought to their channels before they just start creating them. And the reason I'm saying that is every one of these channels will have files and posts. So you don't want to go and just dump everything into the general channel files. It gets a little bit messy. These work really well in creating workspaces and giving organization to your team so everybody knows where things are at. And if we go back in here to look at those channels, you can see we have different channel types. If you have the globe, that means it's visible to everybody in the team. If it's locked, it means it's private. So only the people I've invited to that channel will see it. So I could have 10 people in this team, but maybe I'm going to only add 2 people to this leadership channel. I've had HR groups use it, and instead of creating a whole new team, they've created a private channel when they were doing nominations. And they didn't want to see everyone to see the nominations or the discussions around the nominations. So they just created a private channel in here, and when they were ready, shared it out. Now, when you come in here to add channel, you'll see that standard, that's access to everybody. You're going to see private, and we now have a new shared channel. This, instead of inviting an outside member into your team as a guest, you will, when they get invited into the share channel and you add them to that, they come in as a full member. So I have a lot of universities using this for research, for internships. I also have universities using this when different departments have different tenants. So it becomes a really great way for maybe the main campus to communicate with a satellite campus or another department that has their own tenant. So lots of great uses for this third channel that we've put out recently. If we go into settings, if you're the owner, I always recommend coming in here and setting member permissions. I think you should always put owners can delete all messages. Now, depending on your team, who you're working with, you know your group best. Do you want them to be able to add custom apps, remove apps? That's up to you. Maybe you want to set up the team and just invite people into work. But maybe it's a really collaborative place and you want them to be able to add things. Down here, these are nice courtesy to put on to let people delete their messages or edit the messages. Just a little food for thought to think about. When working with students, it depends on the school's policy. Some people do not want students to have the ability to delete or edit their messages in case there's any instances of harassment. Then they can document it, and then the owner can then go and delete the message. So that's just something to think about, who you're working with and what would work best for you. But I wanted to point those features out to you. If we come down here, there's that at mention. Do you want to have members to have that option? It's up to you. If you wanted to, we talked about that team code, and if someone gave you a code, you could join a team. This is where you can create that code and send it out to anyone that you want to join your team. So this is really convenient because you don't have to then go and add individual members. You can just send an email out with the code and they can jump in and add themselves. Fun stuff. Again, you know who you're working with. I do recommend taking off custom memes. It can leave the door wide open, but if you got a fun group, go with it. Have fun with it. So, and again, here is tags. And do you want owners to be able to set the tags, or do you want members to also be able to create tags? It's completely up to you how you'd like people to work with that. Now, analytics is going to give you a basic overview of what's happening in your team, users, apps, all of that. You can see here any apps that you have as part of your team, and then any tags you've created, and you can even create from here as well. Any questions with managing or setting up those parts of a team? All right, I'm going to keep moving, but please feel free to unmute yourself. If that's easier, type in the chat. I'll be happy to address it. So I want to look at posts next with you. So we have two different kind of posts, and this is where you really can get some nice functionality, and this is where you can even cut down on some of those emails. So you can have a new conversation, which is going to give you a nice small post like this. You can come over here, do an announcement, which is going to give you a nice bold heading. We have some illustrations, but you can customize this. If you have certain images for the university that you'd like to work with, you're welcome to use all of those. You can set it up as a pure announcement, or you can have people reply to it. It's up to you. And you can also post this in multiple channels and multiple teams. So it makes it super easy and convenient. Down here, you can give a subtitle. Here's the ability, if you want, you can do that at mention. Let me do class. There they are. I'm going to at mention them. And then I can attach files. What I like about this file attachment, you're going to notice here it says share a link. If I pick a file from the document that I'm going to show you in a minute that we have under files, it's going to actually just take a shortcut and loop me back there. And what I like about that is one of the complaints I hear from people is they have multiple copies of documents and they don't know which is the most current. And so Microsoft has already thought that through, and we're just going to loop you back to where that is and take you there as a shortcut. So I think that's super easy and convenient for people. Down here are the reflections. So if you wanted some of that, a social emotional element to it, you can add those and get a check on how learning's going. So if you have staff that's working in a classroom, you can go through here. If it comes time for reviews, you can start getting a check on how people are working this week. So you know your group, that's available to you if you want that and add it. And all of that analytics will be pulled for you, and you can see those trends over time. Down here, we can add polls. We have a lot of things that we can go in here. Maybe I want to add a meeting time. And I'm going to say, 10 or 11. And I'm going to put that in here as a post. And so we're going to add that. That's what it's going to look like. I'm going to send that into the post. And now we have that ability to, let's see, there we go. Oh, what time do you meet on Friday? So I can say 11, I could submit my vote, and we can see those getting added there. So great way to talk. And again, if you set up those channels for certain groups, you can have your conversations over here and have that all around the files. Any questions with posts or announcements? All right. I really like the files in the way that Microsoft has all of this set up. So you can go in here and create new. So you don't need to leave, open up a Word document and then upload it to the team. It's up to you. Now you can, let me go back in here. There we go. I can upload a file. So if I want to, I can pull from my OneDrive, I can pull a folder, I can pull a file. And what it is because we're uploading into this shared element, it's actually a copy of your original. And there's some really nice benefits to that. You get to retain those original rights. Too many edits happen here in the team, no worries. You can go back to your original copy. We have version histories that you can access either from the team, or if you originally uploaded from your OneDrive, you have those there as well. So it gives you some of that control. The nice part is too, say you leave the organization, well, then you just take your documents with you, but this group doesn't lose the rights to your documents. That group now is the owner of these documents. So as people come and go from your organization, nobody loses rights to those. So that's where a lot of groups are building these beautiful document libraries and resources and teams, knowing that they're not going to lose access. And likewise, if someone joins your group 6 months from now, you don't now have to go and share all those files with them. They just need to join the team and they have access to everything. So, and it also adds a layer of security because the only people that have access to these documents are people that are invited to the team. If you put it in a locked channel, only people with access to those documents are the people in that locked channel. So it gives you some nice security there. So I'm just going to bop back to posts for a second. So you can see I can even take those same documents and put those in posts. Everything's connected in here. If you do any recordings in a meeting in the team, they're going to stay here in this channel in this team. I'm going to open up a document and show you some options that you have. Oh, let me finish going across. So we can sync with your desktop if you wanted to do that. You can download from here, and it depends on what your organization has turned on. I get all the bells and whistles, so I can pull from Sharepoint, Dropbox, Google Drive, try to play nice with everybody, and I can access all of those and pull those over. If we open up a document, I'm just going to open this up. Every time you see 3 dots in a Microsoft product, no, there's a menu there. So if I click on this, I'm going to see some of these options. So like I was saying earlier, everything in here is in a collaborative state. If I want to remove that temporarily, I can check out that document and it'll remove it from being in a collaborative state. It's going to give that little bit of an arrow note as an indication. And then when I'm ready and I'm done working on it, I can check it back in. I can give a message as to what's occurred with the document, anything I need to update my team on, I can do that. If I can also move or copy these to other teams, to other places within Microsoft 365, it gives me some nice options. You can see here I have it pinned to the top. I can unpin it, move it, lots of flexibility. If I open it up, I'm going to show you my couple favorite features in here with sharing. There's some nice sharing features that are built into Teams, and there's some that will actually travel with it when if you wanted to open it up in desktop, wherever your comfort level is for working. So these are called comments, and so I open it up with this, and you can see here I've already picked on Neve a little bit. But these comments give a nice bookmark. So he knows exactly where to look, what I'm referring to, and then he can respond that he's completed it, or maybe he has something he wants to discuss about it. He can put all of that in there in this reply. We can even use the app mentions here as well. So I can go in, I can add as many of those comments as I need for this project. If I open this document in desktop, those comments will travel with the document. I like the catch-up feature in here. If I say I went on vacation, came back, this will let me know any changes in the document since the last time I logged in. So it's a really easy way to really catch up and see what's happened since you were last in there. Now, conversation's going to run a little bit differently. That's going to be a running thread along the side. And you can even see here, it's noting the comment we made out front with the announcement. It's including that here. Now, these will not travel with the document. They will stay in Teams with this document, but I can attach so many different options over here to give myself a lot of flexibility. I can attach documents, videos, whatever I need to get this project done, I have access to putting in there. So I can close this out, and then everything is there in my team. Now, like I was saying, everything in here is in a collaborative state. I can get granular, I can give granular access to these documents. If I click on those three dots next to that, you'll see here it says open in SharePoint. And if you look at this list here of documents, you're going to see when I open up in SharePoint, this is the back end. This is where they're all being stored. If you work in OneDrive, this is going to look identical to you too. So you can see that's the name of our team. You can see the little Teams icon. So it's letting you, so they don't want you to get lost. They want you to know where you are. So they're going to give you all that information. But you can come in here and manage all of that sharing. So I can look and see who it's been shared with. I can control who can edit, who can view it, link settings. I can go in here and set all of that. And when I'm done, close it out and just jump right back into my team, and I'm all set. So I don't want you to think you're stuck with everything having to be in a collaborative state. You have a lot of control over it, where you can manage those settings through SharePoint. You can control who's seeing those documents depending upon where the channels and the type of channels you put those in. Any questions with files, documents, anything before I keep going?
Jennifer, really quickly, what is the basic difference between OneDrive and SharePoint? Because there's a lot of similarities in how they work and function.
Yeah, so they did that similarity look on purpose. They wanted you to feel comfortable when you went over to SharePoint, that you knew the three dots, the menus look similar. They wanted that familiarity. SharePoint is really your storage container. It is where everything is getting stored in Teams. Now, if we go into, for example, if you wanted to, we can have another session on SharePoint. SharePoint can have a nice overlay of these websites. So you can take all those documents that are being stored in that kind of filing cabinet container of the SharePoint and give it a pretty front of a website. And something that would have taken you weeks or months to build out, I can show you how to do it in less than an hour. So it's a way of having this layers of this pretty website front then connects you to all your documents. So all of these links can take you to those document sites. You can see I built this out for another university as a demo. So here you saw all those lists of those documents and teams. This is that exact list. So it's really SharePoint's your storage, Teams is your communication that's built on top of that storage, but you can also create SharePoints to work independently, not with Teams. I hope I didn't make it more confusing.
Yeah, I kind of got it now. Thanks
Okay.
for that. Appreciate it.
If you need, like, this is where it's it's fun to show people, but I also hope I don't confuse people. But I know university staff sometimes work with sensitive documents, and I don't want them to always think they're stuck and that everything has to be in that shared collaborative state. So that's my thought process in showing you that element. But like I said, if you ever wanted me to come do a smaller group or meet with a specific department as you're creating a team or designing a team, and help you figure out a workflow that'll best for you, I'd be happy to do that. So don't think I disappear after today.
Hey, Jennifer.
Yes.
This is Rhonda Locklear. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I work here in the Office of Human Resources at UNC Pembroke. I have a question. Maybe I missed it, and I
That's
am
okay.
not technologically savvy at all. I can find my way, and that's about it. So, question for you. Maybe I missed it. So, talk to me about the OneDrive versus SharePoint.
Absolutely. So OneDrive is your personal drive. That
Okay.
is your personal space.
And is that where I'm going to share things with other folks in terms of collaboration? Or, for instance, let me tell you, Jennifer, what we do a lot of times. So we have search committees for various searches. When we're filling our positions, we like to do things in a shared folder where just the committee has access, that we can drop documents and various things. Is that where I'm going to do that?
That's the perfect case for teams.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying that is because if we go to OneDrive, and let's just look at OneDrive. If you're in your OneDrive, so you're going to see your files, you can have your folders, any file that hasn't been set places will be listed below. I like this. You have different views. This is the one I like. It's a tile view. And you could see anything you've been working on recently. It'll show you anything you shared with anybody. And then look, here's our university staff. So if I'm working on a document, so here's this document in here, I could go and share that to a team.
Okay.
So now maybe I've created this, but I want to share it out. Maybe I want to share it with specific people and I don't want it to be part of a team. It's just, I'm just going to send this to the intern that's working with me. I can do that from OneDrive. I can also move, if I take and go to those, if I go to this document here, let's say I want to go and I can move a document and I can go and control that and send it to one of my team. I can then add it to one of my teams. So you have some control in here, but this is your personal space. You can choose to share documents, not share documents. There's some really nice controls in here with if you did share a document, you could always stop that sharing link. But once you share it into the team, that copy of this is made and that copy now lives in that team.
Okay.
So it depends on your use case of what you're doing, but that collaboration where you want people to be able to access those documents, you want to have conversations, Teams is the perfect use case for that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer.
You are so welcome. Any other questions? These are great questions.
I don't know if you can answer this or not, but can you share anything about, this is not a SharePoint session, and James, I think that might be helpful to do that in the future, but have you seen a direct interaction with SharePoint and Teams that you would recommend that maybe we take advantage of that we haven't, that we may not be?
I have to tell you, when I build teams for an organization, depending on what they're doing and who the team's for, I do like adding a SharePoint site to a team. So for example, you might have a lot of links or resources or places that you want to send people, and you don't want to create 50 million tabs across the top. This would let you do that. So you can create important quick links. You can create team directories. And it's a great way to, have newsletters or, different bulletins that you want your group to see or work with. You can have countdowns. You can have your Twitter feed in here. So it's a nice way to put resources for your group. And then you can just make it a tab across the top. And again, it's like, because you're putting everything in Teams, one of the complaints I'll hear from people is, yeah, we had that great SharePoint site. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. Or, oh yes, so-and-so made that document library in SharePoint. I can't find it. By pairing these together, you're giving a lot of organization to your group. And you're giving them great places where they can find those resources and make it super easy for them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And there's different SharePoint types. So that's where, you have a lot of options too. You can make a SharePoint site that has some collaboration elements to it. You can make a SharePoint site that's strictly announcements and communication and a document library. They're very customizable, and there is no coding. It is literally like putting pieces of a puzzle together. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I promise you. So if you would like more information on that, I would be happy to work with you all with that. So overall, how Teams works is this is your collaboration space. Now, this we call the me space. This is where you're going to see things that are specific to you. So if anybody makes a post or an announcement in a team that you belong to, you're going to see that here. So you can see here, this is the MIE group, Microsoft Innovative Educators. And so every time they post, I'll see that over here in announcements. If you want to have those side conversations, maybe you just need to have a one-on-one discussion with somebody, you can do that here in chat. This is going to be your place to have those side conversations. So it can be one person, it could be a couple people you chat with. You have that flexibility to do that here. You also have the ability to pin it. I have these couple pinned at the top. Oh, I have more than a couple pinned at the top. So if there's conversations you have to keep going back to, you can also leave a conversation. One of the things, though, I would caution you with the chats. Yes, they're your private conversations. What I've had organizations do and then kind of regret it and come back later, they've started a conversation where they should have really started a team, and they were dumping files into the chat, and then they couldn't find things later on. So it became pretty tough for them. Now, if that happens, if someone sent you files in a chat, you can go over here to these. Again, this is your personal space. You can see where I've pulled from cloud storage, where my recent stuff is. I can search, and it will look at every file, and it will give me the location. So this one is in the OneDrive. This is in the MBA staff in the general channel. So I can go over here and it will find the location and I can search it. But again, I caution throwing too much stuff in the chat. It becomes really difficult long-term to keep track of things. But if that happens, you can use this feature if you need it. With calendar, I'm going to just kind of glaze over assignments. If anybody needs that, lets me know. This is just assignments you've either created or have been assigned to you. And that's where you can locate them. And it'll pull all the assignments from any team that you have. So over here, you can do a quick meet now with someone. We have where you can do a scheduled meeting. You can do a registered webinar. I'm doing these for a lot of my trainings. There's a lot of great built-in analytics with this too. And then you can also do a live event. A live event slightly different. So with a scheduled meeting or a webinar, you can host up to 1,000 with interactivity, meaning they can share their camera, they can share their video. After that, it goes up to 20,000 and they're going to be in a view only state. Now, a live event's going to be different. It's kind of like a moderated town hall. So you're going to have your video feed. They're going to hear you. You can show video, all those good things. But the only interaction you're going to have with the audience on that one is through a moderated question and answer. So those are really great for those leadership presentations or just big announcements, graduations, things along those lines. I love webinars for professional development. I love the interaction and the analytics you get of the registration, who's registered, who's coming. You can even pull specific and customize the registration. So if we come over here, there we go. We're getting set up now. It's loading. So register, we're gonna have everybody register. We're gonna go and customize that registration. So it gives it a nice professional look. You can customize, put a university logo in. And then too, over here, you can choose what information you want collected. Maybe you want job titles. You can customize questions. You can add speakers, their biographies, information, agendas, lots of features in here. And then when you go back in here, all you have to do is send out that registration link. And once the people register, it will send them the Teams meeting link. So it'll do all of that for you. You can choose your meeting options, whether you want it to be interactive. You have a lot of options within the meetings. So for example, you have breakout rooms. You have you can add apps and Microsoft Forms that are interactive for your meeting. We now just launched this month that you can have multiple owners of the breakout rooms. So you can assign an owner to each different breakout room, and you can now set up your breakout rooms ahead of time. So Microsoft has really been listening to the feedback and the asks from a lot of people, and that's been really helpful. If you want to see what apps, again, I get all the bells and whistles turned on here. I'm in a test tenant, but what you can work with confidently is knowing you're only going to see what your organization has turned on. So you don't have to worry about if it's an approved app by your organization. If it's not approved, you're not going to see it. So maybe we talked a little bit earlier about those productivity. Maybe, you want to add lists, checklists, channel calendars. This is going to let you add those to your team. I think we're in a WebEx event, right? Correct? So I could even add WebEx, I think is one of our, I'm in the wrong box typing here. So there's Wakelet, Cisco WebEx. I can even add that as one of my options in Teams. So lots of flexibility. And then every one of our Microsoft products has these built-in help features. So I always like to point these out to people. Topics is going to give you really specific, do this first, second, third. You can search by topic, and you'll see how to do all of those things. If you like quick tip training videos, you're going to see those here. Most of them are under 2 minutes. So really easy, bite-sized instructions on how to do things specific within team. If something has new showed up in your team, you can go check it out here. And you can see stuff was added just as of October 22nd. So lots of options in there. Suggest a feature, they take that seriously, report a problem, and then you can also check out the Microsoft community and interact with that chat there. So we have a few minutes left, and I just want to see if there's anything specific I could address or show you some functionality. Let me know. I'd be happy to do it.
Jennifer, this has been great. Can you also mention about the documents that you put in the chat session?
Absolutely.
Effect too.
Yes. So I put in an accessibility. I built these OneNotes and I set them up as bit.ly links so that you can have easy access to them. So you can just open them up and then you can, save them to your favorites or however it works for you. But if you or someone you're working with needs accessibility features, check out the accessibility OneNote I dropped in there. I have things grouped according to need. There's also learning tools. So, and you can see where they are throughout the Microsoft products. If you're using a Windows device, you can see all of the different using the Access Center. And I will be updating this as Windows 11 is starting to roll out. You can see a little down here how my bottom has changed as Windows 11 is starting to roll out. So I will be updating this as that becomes necessary. We have a lot of math tools as well. I like the math. This one, there's some math apps for teams. There's some great graphing ones in there too. Immersive Reader is one of my favorites. And I love this. If you haven't worked with Immersive Reader, I use it for myself when I'm studying. It will read aloud to you. You can choose different languages. You can increase text sizing, decrease text sizing. There's a lot of accessibility features in here built into Immersive Reader. And Immersive Reader is built in throughout Microsoft and all the Microsoft products. So for example, if we go back in here into posts, Immersive Reader is even in here too. So if I go over here, you're going to see translation and Immersive Reader features in here. Let me pull up. If you haven't seen Immersive Reader before, it's this book and speaker. And I think I have a document. I can use it for a demo. Yep, you can see I was working on that. I'm going to turn this on just so you can see. This is one that you really is a great feature. So down here, I can have it read. I can also go and choose the speed in which it's being read, male or female. I have over here the ability to increase or decrease text sizes. I like to show people this because it's really good for presentations as well. I can increase or decrease spacing. These three fonts are called sans serif fonts. They're recognized by the Dyslexia Association, and Sitka is especially developed by Microsoft for this product. These are the Erlang colors. Most of the time we spend our day here. These are really nice for yourself or for students. They have found students with attention issues can attend to task. I think 33% of them found improvement, and gifted students liked these. Less eye fatigue, eye strain, headaches, clearer. So you may find this is something you want to turn on when you have to read a lot of documents. You can break words into syllables. You can look at parts of speech, and you can also have it show the labels. Over here, this is where great presentation feature. You can go down to 3 lines, 5 lines, or even take it down to 1 line. We have a built-in dictionary. Let me get rid of this line focus. So we have the word towns. I can choose the language. It'll read it in English and in the language I choose. And then I can also have the entire document translated and read in that language. And if it switches from right to left, it will switch. So this is something that is built in throughout the Microsoft products. So all of those kind of things are in here. I even threw in some Apple accessibility features and then my contact information as well. The other one I put in here is Microsoft Resources. And this is where, as I learned Microsoft, I compiled this. This is all of the help and learning pages. I love these help and learning pages. They're maintained by Microsoft. It's a great way to direct people, and you can search by topic, that site. Training. This is really great. This training site, you can get training on all these different products here. I also like, this is a great video that shows you all the little hidden gems of where to find training in Microsoft. I have quick start guides, cheat sheets, even ones for Mac. So all of that, if your students are looking to skill up, there's some student certifications. Microsoft has its own YouTube channels. So here you can see we have some even dedicated, we have channels dedicated to higher education. So that's all in there for you, available, and Microsoft updates it regularly. If you're having any issues troubleshooting, here's some of my go-tos. If you need resources in Spanish, they're there. Information on OneNote, Teams. Here's a great, I like this video a lot. It's 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less, and it's all best practices. Again, looking at how to set up those channels, create really good workflows. If you're going to use Microsoft Teams meetings, what are the different roles in the meeting? What permissions does it give people? So you want to take a look at that. If you're doing a major presentation, you don't want interruptions. You want to put yourself as the only person who can present. Presenters have a lot of rights in those meetings. So something to look at. There's information on app mentions. We talked about those apps. Here are my favorites and some resources for each one of those. Information on OneDrive. We were talking about that. If you haven't been working with OneDrive, I have 2 really good PowerPoints in here that walk you through step-by-step how to set them up, one for Mac and one for Windows. I just updated this morning, and I will keep updating this. So please check back in this resource. Everything that Microsoft launched in October. So how Microsoft works is they put out their updates at the end of the month. So this just came out the other day. I will continually add to this as the updates roll out. And again, my contact information. So I hope you found today was helpful. If I can do anything, let me know. I've dropped my email in the chat, and I'll be happy to help you after today's presentation.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. That was wonderful. Great. Is
Good.
there any more questions, or if not, we're going to let everybody go. And thanks again, Jennifer. I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking for some future stuff too, especially about the SharePoint thing, because that was a hot item.
Excellent.
And, so me and you'll get together soon on that.
That sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Y'all have a great remainder of your day.